The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
And hello everyone again. Now I've remembered to unmute myself. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay? Can you see my screen? Should be able to see. Should be able to see like a slide with a Convertery logo, August update 2021. Excellent. We've got yeses from Joel. We've got yeses from Cynthia, Harry, Sean, Albert, Robert. Lots and lots and lots of people. Excellent. Okay, so let's see who we've got here today. Where's everyone from? I'm currently sat here in London, and it does not look like summer. Oh, Cynthia's in Martha's Vineyard. I'm very jealous. Yeah, Tennessee, Ottawa, Newport, Shepherdstown, South Africa. Yeah, loads and loads of places. I think I said much the same thing last time, but I love doing these calls when like everyone's like from all over the world. It just makes me feel like really like wired in. Anyhow, for I mean, you guys, you probably know who I am by now. But I am Neil Merton. I'm one of the co-founders of Convertri. You may well have seen me around in the Facebook group. I'm the guy who looks like that. A little bit of trivia with that Facebook avatar. The shadows there of two people, neither of which are me. It's a like little segment of a picture from a holiday I went on with friends ages ago in St. Petersburg, like 2000 and something small, like 15 years ago. And yes, those are shadows of two of my friends. There is a little sliver of black right there on the left, which I think might be me. But that is what you're looking at every time I pop up with a comment or a post in there. And Brazil and Georgia. Well, I bet you all have a lot better weather than I do at the moment. Yes, little sliver of black. I should probably like add that to the stuff on my business card. Okay, so what we are going to go through today, this is our like monthly update webinar, running you through like what's happened with like in Convertery with Convertery over the whole of August. So we're going to be talking about the new features we've got in the app. We're going to be talking about the features that we've got coming up. So the stuff we're expecting to release over September. Going to run through some other like bits of Convertery news, like other things that are going on, and then we will go into like just a general Q&A. So anything you want to ask about Convertery, if there's anything you're not sure how to do, like if you're not sure how a feature works, like you're not sure how to wire up a funnel, like anything like that. Like in that Q&A section, you can ask me anything you want. I'm happy to run through anything I can run through. Have to hang around basically either until you run out of questions or I run out of voice. I will have the just so you know, I will have the little question answer chat. I will have that open and available while I'm doing the presentation, so I'll be able to see like questions you put up there. I will be keeping an eye on it. So if you want me to like show something again, if you want me to go through anything like a bit slower, if you've got any questions about the stuff I'm doing like specifically on the screen at the time, like do feel free like to ask them. Ask them on the way. If you've got a question about like just general Convertery stuff, like that's not related to what we're seeing at the moment, if you could just save that until the Q&A section, like I will get to it, but if we can save it till the end, it'll just like help keep the presentation on track. Okay, so let's shift to my Convertery account, and I'll show off some of the new stuff that's gone in there. There we go. You should be seeing my Convertery account now with an August 2021 funnel and a single page in there. So we'll just go in there. Now, there's not been a whole huge amount of features which have gone into the app this month. It's just the way it works sometimes. Like we've been doing quite a lot of work on a lot of bigger stuff, some of which I'm also going to be showing you in like the what's coming up section. But because we're working on a lot of bigger things, that means we've not had a whole huge amount actually go into the app, like through August itself. However, we are getting fairly close to the end on a lot of the bigger stuff. So I'm expecting September to be like a fairly big month in terms of like feature releases. But just to show you like the stuff that we do have in August, first feature I'm going to show you is custom quantities. Now, this is something that will let you set up the product, or set up a product for sale, and you can choose how many units that people can buy, like in the quantity dropdown. So to get a quantity dropdown on the page, you can see we've got one here already. You just add a dropdown form element from the options here, and quantity is one of the options in the selection here. So you've got countries, states, and titles, which is generally the kind of thing you'd use if you're building like an address form. Custom, where you can build your own drop-down list, and quantity is the other one we've got here, where you can have someone choose like how many of the product they want to buy. Another option that you've got in here, when you have variants set up on your product, this is also how you get the product variant selectors in there. That would also come in here as a drop-down option. It's not, we can't see it on this one because I don't have any variants set up with the product that we've got attached to the page. But we can see like we do have the product attached. We've got quantity selected, and there is a toggle here for turn custom quantities on. At the moment, I don't have any custom quantities set up. I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. So this toggle isn't active, and that means if we go to preview, what someone will see in the quantity selection is just the standard, like the standard 1 to 10. So if someone was to enter the quantity dropdown, they could choose to buy anywhere between 1 and 10 of your product. We want to do custom, so we're going to close that. And we're going to go into the product. And in the quantity area of the modal, then as it says here, like enter custom quantities using a comma to separate items. So we're going to say we'll still let them order 1, and let's also have like 5, 10, 15, 20, and then let's jump all the way to 100. So these are the custom quantities that we're going to set. So I'll hit save. Now I'm going to go back to the page. And in my quantity dropdown, you can see this toggle here for turn custom quantities on. That is now active because we've set up the custom quantities like for the product which is attached to the page. So we'll save that, and then we'll preview. And now in our quantity dropdown, we have the custom ones that were set. So 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, and 100. And this is, I mean, these aren't just numbers appearing in here. Like this is actually the quantity that's going to be set. If someone's like, if your product is, like I think this one we've got set up as like $47. If someone chooses 100 and picks checkout, like they will be charged for 100 units. Like they'll be like 4,700. It all filters through to the checkout, and you'll see like the quantity in your orders screen. So that's the first feature. It's just a little thing, but if you are selling physical products in particular, or some people use it for supplements and that kind of thing, it's very useful for that kind of thing where people are likely to be buying in bulk. It means they don't have to just stick with the default quantities that we set. If they want 100 units, they don't have to just go through and buy 10 times. You can give them that option to buy lots, which is quite a good way of making that bit of extra profit. So does anyone have any questions on that feature before I move on to the next one? Joel's asking, is it possible to also integrate in some kind of discounting as the volume goes up? We don't have the ability to discount on the product price itself, but I believe you can discount the shipping. So you can set a base shipping amount and then have them charged less for each subsequent unit. So they could save a bit of money that way. It would actually be quite a good idea, I think, to have some kind of discounting bulk option. That could make buying the bulk ones, as I'm sure you figured, quite attractive. I will consider that for the product backlog. But for now, you can discount the shipping, so they can still get some kind of bonus for buying in quantity. Okay, let's have a look at the next feature. This one is about validation text. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to adjust this form a bit because we're not going to need all this stuff. So we'll take out the payment details and the quantity. We'll shift our checkout button up, and we'll just make that a standard sign up. And it's not like I really need to do this for the demo, but just for completeness' sake, we will change the label as well. And we'll just go into here and we will make all of these fields required. So we've got a name field, an email address field, and a contact number. In fact, email address is already required. So we'll save that and preview. I think these messages show up in preview. We might have to actually publish it and look on the live page. We'll see. So we have our form. We made all our fields required. We're not going to enter anything in there. We're just going to hit sign up. Yeah, they don't show on the preview page. I'm also going to need to wire up a form, aren't I? That would make. What we're learning here is that Neil should work through these webinars before doing the actual presentation. But yeah, we'll just sign up to one of our lists. Okay, thank you page is just going to Google. That will be fine for this demo. So cool, let's publish that. Yep, test 01, that's fine. So again, not entered any details into the field, even though we've set them to required. We'll hit sign up, and okay, that does not appear to be working at all. Well, that's embarrassing. Cool, let's have a bit of live debugging. First of all, let's take off the layer. That shouldn't be doing anything. Oh, it's probably because we've still got the product attached to it. And we'll check these fields again. So yes, everything is required. And we'll give these a validation type. So validation type of email address for the email field and phone number for the phone field. Save and publish this. Okay, there we are. Yeah, I think it was because I still had the product attached to the page, but no checkout field, which is what was confusing Convertery at that point. But anyway, we have got there now, and I didn't enter any, as you can see, it didn't enter any details in those fields, despite them being marked as required. And so we have the this value is required message, which has popped up. And this is our standard default text. And this is something that for quite a long time, people have wanted to change. Some people just want to put their own thing in there. More often, it's when someone's using a page in another language, they've built their entire page in Spanish or Portuguese or German, something like that. And then someone clicks the sign up button on their form and the validation message pops up in English, which is okay. Most people understand it, but you don't really want that. You want it to match the language of the page because that is your main prospect. So now you can change those warning messages. And to do that, you go into the page menu and you'll find a new section on the left for warning messages down here. And we've got a little toggle here for using the default. And you can change three different messages. You can change the value as required message, which is the one that we just saw. You can also change the specific messages for phone and email validation. So if Convertery, if you've got phone validation switched on and Convertery doesn't recognize what's entered in the input as a valid phone number, then it'll show. It'll show this is not a valid phone number, or we can put in whatever we want. So let's say for value required, we'll have it say that's not right. Email validation is probably something like there should be an at here. And phone validation will say those aren't numbers. And we'll say done. And save that. And publish. I can see there's a couple of questions come in about other Convertery functions. Like I said earlier, I will answer all these questions. I'll just do it at the end in the Q&A section when we get to the general Convertery part, just so I don't derail this too much. So we'll have a look at our page, and we'll leave the full name blank because that will be the how you get that standard validation message. In here we'll put a bit of text, and here we will put some things which aren't numbers. And if we hit sign up now, then we can see our custom messages. So that's not right for the one which we just left empty. There should be an @ here for the one which didn't register as a valid email address, and that's not right for the again for the one which didn't register as a valid phone number, because that was just checking more characters. So yeah. So that is how that feature works, even if my demonstration there was nowhere near as slick as it really should have been, for which I apologize. Again, should really check these things out beforehand. But that is how you can adjust these validation messages. So if you're building pages in different languages, or if you just want your own message, then page warning messages, and set your messages here. And of course, if you ever just want to use the default, you can flick back the toggle, and it will return to the standard options. Okay, just grab a quick swig of tea, because I'm British and it's what we do. So those are the new things which have been added to the app this month. Again, so not a huge amount of features actually in there this month, but I think when you see the stuff that we've been building and the stuff you're going to get in the next few weeks, I think you'll be quite impressed. So let's move on to that bit now. Let's move on to like the what's coming up section. So we have a couple of quite cool things available to show you. So this one, now this account is what we call like an alpha account. It's a test account. So we've got access to some features which aren't quite out of test yet. But if we move to account and integrations, then this is the first thing here. So this is our upcoming Facebook conversion API integration. This is actually pretty much done at the moment. What we are waiting on at the moment with this is Facebook's approval. They need to put every new connection, new app like this, it needs to go through a review process. So really, we're just waiting on them to get back to us and either say, yep, you're good to go, or can you please change these things? It's a fairly basic integration. We're not expecting them to to come back with anything major that needs changing. But it's Facebook, so who knows? But what this will do, is going to do is this is going to help with a lot of the issues that have come up with the iOS 14 changes. For everyone who doesn't know about that, iOS 14, one of Apple's latest releases, recently added a lot of extra privacy controls. So a lot of the Facebook event tracking, which you're going to be doing if you're running a lot of Facebook ads, that just doesn't really work as well anymore. What Facebook have done to get around that, to give you a bit of the functionality back, is they've brought out this thing called the Conversion API, where the events aren't fired in the browser, they're fired server side. And even if you're still going within Apple's what Apple lets you do, because they limit fairly strictly the number of events you can fire. Even if you're within that, having events fire server side is better, because it's just more accurate. It takes the browser out of the equation, and there's more it's just more accurate in the data that you get because there's one less step in there where things can go a bit wrong. So we have developed this Facebook conversion API integration, and when that is done, you'll be able to connect your pixel directly to Convertri. So you'll be able to take the pixel that's in your Facebook account, connect that to Convertri. Convertri will automatically include it on your pages, and Convertri will automatically fire the relevant events when something happens. So we'll fire a lead event when someone signs up to a form. And again, this won't be we won't be firing the event when someone hits a thank you page. So you're not going to get a load of leads come in when people just happen to find the thank you page from somewhere else, or if someone gives them a link or something. It will be an event that fires when they fill in the form, when they hit the submit button. So it should be really, really accurate data. So you'll get the lead event there. You'll get an open checkout event when someone opens the modal checkout. You'll get a purchase event when someone buys a product through the Convertery cart. And this is, let's say, from our side, this is basically done. We're just waiting on Facebook's rubber stamping. So I'm hoping that this will get into the app very soon, and that will make if you're running any kind of Facebook ads, this is going to make your data just so much better. And it also makes the setup a lot easier as well, because you won't have to do the lead and purchase code event. You won't have to do that manually. Convertri will just do it all for you, which is, certainly for me, I would find that a very big win, because I can never quite get my head around what bits of code are meant to go on what page. And if we can have the app just do it for us, that feels like a win to me. Michael asked, is this per form? Is this about the conversion API? If that is what you meant, this will be set at the account level. So this will be you'll get the lead and purchase events for every page where the relevant thing happens, on your Convertery account. And you will basically, in Facebook, you'll need to verify that domain in Facebook, and then you can set up those domains to receive those lead and purchase events. And as long as you've got that done on Facebook's side, that will just go in through your domains. It will have to be a custom domain. You'll need to use a custom domain with this to get those events fired. That's a limitation that Facebook and Apple between them have in place. You need to have that domain verified, and you can't verify a subdomain of someone else's. Oh, sorry, you're referring to the validation messages on the page. That will be effectively, yes. You can set it you can set different messages per page. So if you've got multiple sets of form inputs on the same page, they'll always use the same set of validation messages, or sorry, the same set of warning messages. But if you if you want, you can set different messages on different pages. So if you want to, if you've got one page in German and one page in Spanish, you can have Spanish warnings on the Spanish page and German warnings on the German page, if you want. Okay, what's next? We also have done a lot more work on multi-publish. This is going to be very, very cool, and unfortunately there's very little I can show you with it because it's almost entirely back-end work. But what this feature is multiple publish of an entire funnel. So if we go into this is actually a really bad example because there's only one page in there. Let's see if we can find one that's got more. Okay, so we have this other demo funnel that I've used for other things in the past. We are adding a feature which will let you republish every page of this funnel at once. So if you've added a script at the funnel level, at the moment, you need to go into each of these pages, you need to publish them individually to get that script on your page. We're going to have a button. We're going to have a button up here, and that is going to let you just push the button, and it will republish like any live pages that you've got. So in this funnel, we have 3 pages already published and 1 that's never been published. When you hit that button, all 3 of these pages will be republished and they'll go live. So you'll be able to like just hit that button and all your live pages will get that script on them, or any other changes that you made. Like maybe you've made a change to a shared header and footer. Like maybe you've changed your cookie consent settings on the domain. Like all of these things which at the moment mean you need to publish pages individually, like to get everyone updated, you'll just be able to push that button and they'll all be done at once. Which is, I mean, it's going to be a huge time saver, a huge amount more convenient. And it's, I mean, it's exciting for me because it's something we've been working on for like quite some time. It's one of these things, it just sounds so simple, like to make happen, but the amount of back-end work in place, like we've had to like restructure basically the entire publishing system to make this work, or at least to make it work like without someone pushing the button and having a 40% chance of just crashing the entire app for everyone, which didn't really sound great. But we've got that work like mostly done now. It's apparently the developer who is working on it thinks he's going to be done this week. Like our CTO and me, I think that's probably a lie. I think it's probably going to be another week on top of that, and then there'll be a little bit of testing. But at some point in September, you should get this like into the app. You should have like this time next month, I should be showing off like multi-publish to everyone here. And that will be, yeah, so it's something we've been working towards for quite a while. And I think it's going to make everyone's lives quite a lot easier. And the other thing I've got to show you in the stuff that's coming up, and this one is definitely coming up, and we're definitely putting like a large chunk of this out next week. This is our form widget. If you're on this webinar last time, you would have seen a bit of an earlier version. So I'll show you where we're up to with it at the moment. If you haven't seen it before, this is a brand new system which is going to let you create forms like just so much easier, like on Convertri pages. So at the moment, I'll just remove that just so I can go through the whole thing. At the moment, if you're making a form, you want to be dragging on like individual elements at the time. So like maybe a first name field like that, and add it to your field. Like maybe just move this down and put another one in there. And it gives you a lot of flexibility. You can build basically anything you want, but it is like it can be a bit of work to get things put together. What we wanted to do was to give you a system where you could just get like a standard form up and running like in a few seconds. And so what we've done is we've made this widget. And you'll go into form elements, go into the form widget section, and you'll come up with this modal, which will let you build the widget itself. For the default version, you've got a first name field and an email field, and you've got all the usual options here, like just like you'd find in the properties panel if you were building it like from scratch. So you can set the validation type, you can set whether it's required, you can choose to pre-fill from a query string parameter should you want, and of course you've got the assigned field type. You can also set the button, so you can choose the button mode, you can choose the label that's on there. You can also choose whether or not to include a button at all. Like you don't have to. Like you can have you can, if you want, just use this for the form fields. You can put the button somewhere else. You can, if you want, to use this for just some of the form fields and put some other options elsewhere on your page. Entirely up to you. We'll keep these standard settings at the moment. So we've got a text field, so we've got a first name field, an email field, and the submit button. So save that, and this is the out of the box form version. So you can see it comes as a unit. We've got the heading, we've got the fields, the form label, and the button, and you can change a fair amount about this. You can set different font styles. So if we want the heading to use Annie Use Your Telescope as a font, we can just change that in there, and then we can change the paragraph. And because these are set with styles, you can see I changed the font family of the paragraph, and all the different fonts related to it changed at once. And that just makes things a lot quicker to edit, I think, because it means you don't have to go through and apply your settings to every input or to every little bit of the form. You can also change the text. Obviously, we can change that to enter your details below. You can change the footer text, and you don't have to have it at all if you don't want to. You can just get rid of it entirely. You can choose whether or not the labels are included. You can set the background colors of the inputs. And you can do things like change the color of the button. And obviously the button text as well. So that in general, that will make creating forms quickly quite a lot easier. Because if we decide we want to change this, actually let me just change this font back. That's starting to annoy me being there like that. So we can add new fields in easily. We can add another text field. So let's say we want a phone field in there as well. We'll choose the phone type. So the phone number validation, a placeholder of enter your phone number. Hit save, and it's just there and added in. We don't need to add new elements or rearrange them. It will just do this automatically. And there's also a couple of other cool things in here to show you as well, because it's not just about little forms like this. This does actually add some entirely new functionality into Convertery, which I think is very, very sexy. Joseph asked, a page need to be published first. This will be about the multi-publish, I think. Yes, at the moment, a page will need to be published first because Convertri needs to know what the URL is to send it to. So this is more about updating pages than putting an entire funnel entirely live at once. However, we've got there's a feature ticket in the backlog, though I don't know when we're going to get to it, for basically setting a URL before the publish point. At that point, once we've built that in, you'll be able to set the URLs on the page cards themselves, and then we'll have that URL to put things to. So at that point, you can set it so when you hit the multi-publish button, it will just put all those pages live as well if you want to. That's a bit in the future though. Greg and Michael are both asking, can you save forms as templates? That's not something we have at the moment, though it is quite a good idea. However, what you can do with forms, a couple of other nice things to show you now. You don't just have to use these for opt-in forms if you don't want to. you can also use them as payment forms. So if we set a credit card input on there, again, you can change all the placeholder text. Like all of this stuff that you could do in the properties panel normally, you can do here. So you can change the placeholder text. We'll change that to a purchase mode button. And let's change the label to buy now. Hit save, and that's now a payment form. In fact, if we attach a product to the page, but that I think is like that's pretty cool, but I don't think it's the most exciting thing that we've got here. Because the other thing we have in here is this new step feature. And this I really like because this lets you do actual two-step forms, like just built into the widget, or even more steps if you want. So we'll just add the step on here. We use these arrows here to rearrange the order. So we're going to set, we're going to have our details on the first page and the credit card input on the second one. And we'll save that. In fact, let's just get rid of this one for now. So we're now going to have a multi-step form here. And again, I should just check these aren't required so I can demonstrate it to you. Yeah, we'll switch that off. So we'll hit publish, go to view page. So the form will always be like as big as the biggest step. So if you've got like two steps on one, or like two inputs on one step and 17 steps on another, could look a little bit odd, but for the most part, like it'll look fine. And you can have people enter their details, hit next, and go to the credit card section. So that's a nice, easy way of, in this case, setting up like a two-step payment. You can do exactly the same thing with a two-step opt-in. So you can set like maybe a name and address on here, and then like click next and have them enter more details for maybe an address and some notes. And whenever someone has entered an email, so on this step, if someone enters their email here, this will act as a submission. So in this case, you could use it as an abandoned cart system. So as soon as someone hits next, like that will capture their email at that point, and it will keep updating their details on the way through. If they haven't entered their email like prior to that step, it'll just save up the information and then submit everything it's got at once. So you'll be able to build like a whole huge amount of different stuff with this. And the layout won't be quite as flexible as you get with Converteries like standalone elements, but it'll be an awful lot quicker to get up. So first release, the stuff that is coming out on Tuesday, that's basically everything I've just shown you. So you'll get the standard text fields, you get the multi-line text, you're going to get the checkout system, and you're going to get the multi-step, so you can set up two-step forms, or let's say even more. You can have as many steps on your form as you like. And that I have slated to be released, like I say, next Tuesday. After that, we'll be adding more form element types in there, so getting things like checkboxes, radio buttons, drop-downs, that kind of thing. And the third stage, which I'm hoping we'll get to, is also adding in bump sales. So all this stuff is on the way with this first bit coming, like I say, very soon. Cool. Got a few questions coming about this, so just give me a sec to go through those. Peter's saying, as you're adding new features, is it possible to group together the tutorials that'll make newbies starting with Convertery get going without much hassle? We actually have a course for this, which you may well find very useful. Let's just save that and close. If you go into the account section and then resources, you'll see there's a option here called the Convertery Crash Course. And if you click that, that will take you into our, this is our basically getting started course for Convertery. And it won't have absolutely every feature in it. So it won't have all the new stuff that I'm showing you at the moment. There's some of the advanced stuff that isn't in here. But if you work through this, it will let you get up and running very quickly. So it'll cover how to use the templates, how to build the pages in the editor, a section on setting up forms, a section on how to use Convertry's feature to build full websites, and a couple of the more advanced sections. There's one on setting up actions and events, and one on layers and setting up more complicated pages that way. So like I say, that's all linked in the app. If you go to account and then resources, and then you'll see it there as Convertery Crash Course. And everyone's got access to this. It's absolutely free. You can just click in there and get it. I will also stick the link to this, or the direct link to this, in the chat here now. So everyone's got a copy of that. Greg's asking, can we link an autoresponder to the forms? Yep, yeah, absolutely can. Again, this will work exactly the same way as it does with Convertery standard forms. So if we go in here, so see we've got our form widget, and if we open the form widget here, then we're just doing all the same stuff. We're making sure that the field types are assigned in here. So we've got first name, email, and phone assigned to these form inputs. We go into the forms option up here. In this case, I've already got one attached to the page. But you would just attach the form to the page as normal. Set the type for the fields that you're taking. So here we've got first name, phone, and email. In this particular list which I've attached, there's address and last name fields in there as well, which I've just not included in this form, which is why they're still there as none. But you just make sure the types are here and match. Set the thank you page, which again in this example I've just sent to google.com. You would put it to whatever your thank you page URL was, or have it stay on the page if you want. That's also an option. And when the form is attached, that will send all the details that are entered into the form widget to your autoresponder. Again, working exactly like forms generally do in Convertery. And yes, Tony was asking about a bump sale. I think I got to that answer before I read the question. But yeah, yes, bump sales are on the list. They're at phase 3 for the form widget. So phase 1, let's say, almost certainly 95% next week. This is coming out. Then phase 2, shortly after that, will come with things like checkboxes and drop downs and radio buttons. And shortly after that, with any luck, there will be bump sales. And we're also hopefully, maybe perhaps going to have this little dynamic cart widget we've got planned. That is, if that works, that's going to be very, very cool. But I will show you that closer to the time, as long as it turns out we can get that done. Okay, so those are the big things that we're working on at the moment. There is actually one other thing for me to show you as well, which I think is quite exciting, but I'm going to come to that in the other news section. Does anyone have any more questions on any of these features before I move on? Yes, the widget can be sized. So the vertical size will be set by the number of fields you've got in there. So that works pretty much like text elements does. Like, it depends on the amount of content that you've got in there. So it's this big at the moment because we've got these 3 fields. If we let's say we took the labels off, then it shrinks because there's just not as much stuff in there for vertical space. For the horizontal sizing, you can make that as wide or as narrow as you like. And obviously, if it narrows to the extent where the text wraps onto the line, then it just extends vertically to fit. Tony's asking, in the future, could there be different kind of button creatives? Yes, I hope so. We have, again, I know I'm saying this an awful lot, but we have a ticket in the backlog at the moment for extra button templates. At the moment, we're thinking things like where you've got icons on there. So if you want a buy button, you can have a shopping cart, that kind of thing. Possibly some I guess fancier designs. What we've got at the moment is these are at the moment for the buttons which are the standard buttons which go on the page. So you'll have different. You'll be able to have these buttons here look different. Probably they will be added into the form widget as well. Whether they will happen at the same time or a bit later, that will probably depend on how much dev work it is. Tony's saying animated buttons. Do you mean when buttons that pulse when the mouse moves over them, that kind of thing, or are you thinking of something else? Yes, Tony's also suggesting it'd be great to have one with the security icons like PayPal and credit card and so on. And we do actually have in that ticket I mentioned, one of them does have that, the buy button template has those added on the bottom. So that much at least, yes, we are looking at including. Okay, Sean's off. Good to see you, Sean. I'm glad you enjoyed as much of this as you were able to see. Okay, I think that's it for. No, I was about to say I think that's it for questions, but I think there's another one come in. All right, similar to the video play button. We don't currently have that on the list, but I don't see why we couldn't. Yeah, I'll look into it. Okay, so the next bit of the webinar. Let's just close out. Let's should probably save it first. So next bit of the webinar is the what else is going on in Convertri. because I mean we don't just sit here and build features, though we do. There are other things going on in the company as well, and a lot of them I hope are going to make your life easier too. So let me just shift back to the presentation. So yeah, let's talk about what else is going on. Cool. So we are running a set of new webinars. Some of this you'll know because you're at one of them. We are running a monthly update webinar, which is this. Previously, we were running the Getting Started webinar. We were running that every 2 weeks, and I think people were finding it useful. But it was the same presentation that was happening every time. We want to, certainly with the presentations which are live, we want to try and change it up a bit, which is why we are trying it this way now. And so we are doing one monthly update webinar, which is doing much like we're doing here. In development, there is a concept called a stand-up. Some of you may well have done these kind of things in the past, where basically at the start of your day, you stand up and you say what you worked on since the last one of these you did, what you're going to work on before the next one, and what's anything else that's happening. And this is basically trying to get the same, do the same kind of thing. It's an accountability thing, for us to you. We are showing you what we've built over the last month. We're talking about what we're planning on delivering over the next month, and we're talking about the other things that are going on. These webinars will be running on the last Thursday of the month, and it's just there to give you an update on everything that is going on with Convertri at the moment. And I hope you keep finding them useful. We are also running one deep dive webinar every month. This is going into looking at one topic in Convertri and going into it in depth. So these run on the middle Thursday of the month. So the next one is happening on September the 16th. And like I say, these are about going deep into an area of Convertri. Like the last one we did, I think Dan ran it on video. So that was going into all the different things you could do with video in Convertri. Like he was going through all the different elements. He was going through all the features of the video player. And he showed you how to use the actions and events system with the video player to get a lot of quite interesting effects. So do things like have the video play when the mouse moves over it and stop when it doesn't, that kind of thing. So really, the idea of these is to, like I say, really go deep into an area, show you how to do things in Convertri, in this a specific area that you might not have known about in the past. So we've got a few ideas for these ones. I think what Dan is planning on doing for September's one is going deep into website building. So showing you how to use all the different features to put together a full-featured website in Convertri. We're also thinking of doing ones on selling physical products. We're thinking of doing one on running through the analytics system. So how you use Convertri's analytics, how you use UTM tags to track people through your funnel, all this kind of thing. So if there are specific topics that you're interested in, then please do let us know. You can email into support. You can let us know in the Facebook group. You can leave a comment here if you want. All of these things we're trying to just show you how to get more out of Convertri. And so this is what we're trying to do with these. So this is the new webinar schedule that we're running. So monthly update on the last Wednesday of the month and the deep dive in the middle Thursday. We also have a new person. You may well have met her already. She's named Jane. You may well have seen her, let's say, in the Facebook group, or possibly you talked to her on the support desk. Jane is our new customer success manager. She is going to be producing. She's going to be doing webinars like this one. She's going to be producing more training. Basically, her job will be to make you show you how to use Convertri as well as you can. So she's going to be eventually she'll be the first port of call whenever if there's ever anything you're not sure how to do with Convertri. Jane will be there. She'll be in the group. You'll be able to ask her, and she'll be like, "Here's how you do it," and give you an explanation, a video on making these things happen. And yeah, she'll also be running onboarding calls for people. So she'll be producing new training webinars, producing new guides. So again, if there's anything you want a guide on, then again, let us know. If you want to, if you would like an end-to-end guide on how to wire up a funnel, if you would like an end-to-end guide on how to set up a product, anything like this, let us know and we will get Jane on the case for you. At the moment, she's still she's learning how Convertri works. She joined us about a week ago, so she's still learning the app and getting into it herself at the moment. But she's learning really, really quickly. Very, very soon she will be up to speed. And honestly, I mean, she's even shown me a few things already. There was she was showing me a video she did showing how to change the text background color. And she just opened the properties panel and typed yellow into the the background checker box. In fact, let's see if I can do that on here. See if it works on the form widgets as well. We're going to background and let's hit and let's see green. And look at it, it goes green. I didn't know you could do that. I absolutely no idea. So yeah, so she's pretty good, is the point. So yeah, so if there is anything that you would like to know, for one of the deep dive webinars, one of Jane's trainings, any of these things, do let us know about it, and we will get it on the list. But yeah, let's say Jane joined us on. I don't know. I keep doing this. I got really excited about that background green thing, and then I didn't switch the screen over, so you couldn't even see it. Idiot child. Let me just imagine how good these are going to be when an actual professional is doing them. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, but if you take the any element like this, just we've got the in the background panel, or the background tab in the properties panel. So we'll go background fill. Let's just write green, and look at that go. I never knew that was a thing. Absolutely amazing. So that's Jane. She's already teaching me things, and soon she will be teaching you things as well. The Getting Started webinar itself, like I say, we were running that every couple of weeks as a live call, but it was the same presentation every time, and I think people were starting to get a bit tired of it. But we still think it's useful for new people, so we do still have it available. We've got it set up so you can go to the registration page. You can sign up whenever you want, and the video will then be available for you for 7 days. And of course, there's a recording in the there's a load of recordings in the knowledge base already. So if you ever want to watch it, you can just go in there and see it. But the registration page, if you want it, is just convertri.com/customerwebinar/registration. I'll stick that in the chat as well, so you've got it. And that looks like that. And basically we've done a special version of the presentation. If you stick your email address in here and go to get that version of the call, we went through all the Getting Started webinars that have been run over the past year. We found the most popular questions and answers to put on the end, and Dan did the whole presentation and then went through the most popular questions. So it's quite a good starting point for just a general how do I do this thing in Convertri? Most of the common answers are going to be in there. And yes, just like I said there without actually changing the slides, now available on demand. We also have another new thing running. We've started up a podcast. Well, I say we've started up a podcast. Andy, my business partner, has started up a podcast, Funnel Masters. Basically, he's been going out there. He's been finding some of the most successful businesses out there, and he's been digging into their funnels, trying to find out what makes them tick, what makes them so successful. Episodes are going out every week, so it's like an interview. He will be talking to this other business, these other entrepreneurs for generally half an hour, thereabouts. I think sometimes it's a bit longer, but that'll be basically he gets them to run through what makes their funnels work, what they tested, what they didn't, how much money have they made, what are the conversion rates like. So you get an actually really deep insight into how some of these pages you see out there, how well they're really doing and what people had to go through to make them work that well. So on the first one, I think he's talking to Joey Zotto, who founded Videos. It's that's actually a very big company now. I think an awful lot of Convertery users also use Videos. I mean, we do as well. Some of our logo stings are made with them. But if you want to follow this podcast, I do suggest you do. It's really, really good. You can access it on YouTube, or you can access it on Spotify. I think the first episode actually went live 5 minutes before I started this call. So you're getting this pretty much hot off the press. But you can see that on YouTube. There, you can see it on Spotify at this address. And so you can watch it, you can listen to it, wherever works best for you. And now, before we and there's a few questions coming in. I will have a look at those in just a minute. There is one more thing I want to show you first, because this is another very exciting thing we've been working on. So we have been working on a whole new module for Convertery. We've been something that people have been talking about for quite some time. Honestly, since I think 2016, 2017, when we first founded the app, was they wanted a better funnel design system in Convertery itself, because you've got the funnel layout tool, where you add your pages into your funnel and you can draw the arrows between them. But there's more to a funnel than that. You're going to use autoresponders. You're going to have webinars in there. There's all sorts of stats and so on to go with it, like working out the conversion rate, all this kind of thing. And people just wanted to be able to do more with that. And so we are building a new module which we think will just make this side of funnel designing an awful lot easier. Now, what you're looking at the moment is the very, very earliest version. This is most of the stuff you see doesn't actually even work. If more, this is pre-alpha. It will in a couple of weeks be going out to feature testers, but this is a couple of weeks away from even a beta state. But I can show you this very quick, very early preview of what's coming in there. So you're going to be able to add all your pages to your funnel. So at the moment, the only element type we've got in here are opt-ins and sales pages. We're going to have a load of different page types. We're also going to have different elements. So you'll be able to add in webinars, autoresponders, different traffic sources. So let's add another opt-in page in there. This canvas will work just like the Convertery one. So you can move things around wherever you want. You have a properties panel where you can set the general properties. So we've got the element name in there at the moment. You will be able to set the conversion rate. At the moment, that's a blank panel because we haven't added that feature, but that will be going in there. You can connect your funnel together. But what's really going to be cool about this, though, is it won't just be a designer like this. You'll actually be able to model the funnel with it. So you can set like, okay, I'm going to get like 1,000 hits in from this traffic source, and my opt-in page is going to convert at 20%, and my sales page is going to have, like, I'm going to attach, like, so I'm going to attach that funnel guide to my sales page, so it's going to sell for $47, and that's going to sell at 5%, and I'm going to pay, I don't know, I'm going to pay 50 cents a click for traffic, and then you'll be able to hit the button, and Convertri will tell you, like, okay, if all that's true, this is how much your funnel is going to make. So you can see how profitable it's going to be. You can see how profitable it's going to be, or possibly not in some cases. You'll be able to see if the project as you've got planned is likely to make a loss. You need to add more stuff in there. Like maybe you need another upsell. Maybe you need to find a cheaper traffic source. But you'll be able to do all this like before you've actually built the funnel. So before you've done like all that hard work, you'll be able to have an idea of where you're going with it, how to improve it. And that is something that I think is going to make, like, it's certainly going to make, like, if you're planning out complicated funnels, I think it's going to make like your life an awful lot easier. Obviously, at the moment, there's not a whole huge amount to see because, let's say, all we've got in there at the opt-in and sales page. And this is also when I told the devs I was going to be showing you guys this, like on this webinar, they were like, no, like give us a bit more time, It's nowhere near ready yet. But like, I just want you to see like what we're doing at the moment, where we're going, because I think it's a good idea, like that you can see the kind of stuff we're working on. But we're going to have, like, let's say, lots of different sales pages in there. You're going to be able to model some very complicated funnels. You're going to be able to see like what the different traffic sources are doing. You'll be able to see what traffic sources are going to be best. Like you're going to be able to work out, like, for this funnel, what can I pay for traffic? Like what click cost can I get? So you're going to know, like, before you go to Facebook, before you go to Google, you're going to know how much you can afford to pay for that click. And that, like, as someone who does build funnels and has to do all this like by trial and error at the moment, I think that's pretty exciting. So I'm very much looking forward to having this in there. This is like you can tell, like, this is quite a long way out at the moment. We're expecting the beta version for feature testers, let's say probably a couple of weeks, like maybe a bit more. But this is like how it's looking at the moment. And if nothing else, I think it's just pretty. Okay, let's have a look at some of these questions that have come in. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to work from the bottom upwards, because that way I think I'm more likely to get all of them. Michael's asking, is this going to be an extra cost? Nope, this is just being added into your Convertery account. Like everything you're looking at the moment, like everything I've been talking about, that will just be like a new module in Convertery. Antonio's asking if we're going to get a recording of this. Yes, we are. We're recording this call at the moment. It should go up in the, again, assuming the recording works all right, which like 99% of the time they do. As long as it works all right, this should be going up in the knowledge base on Tuesday. Joseph is asking if he can become a feature tester. Yeah, I'm pretty certain we've still got some slots open on that. Basically, we look to have a certain number of feature testers active at any one time. As long as we've got slots open, it's basically first come, first served. If you want to be a feature tester, all you need to do, email support@convertery.com. I'll type that in the chat box again. So email support@convertery.com. Let them know you would like to become a feature tester and your account email. Then they will get you set up with that. Peter's suggesting to add the podcast on the tutorial section. Yeah, actually, go putting the linking to the YouTube channel for the podcast in the resources section there. I think that's probably quite a good idea. Yes. Tony's asking, is it possible to have buttons to save a calendar reminder after registering for a webinar? It's certainly not a feature we've got at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I quite like the idea of it. I'll have to, I think I'm probably going to have to talk to the dev team and see what would be involved in that. I'm actually just wondering if there's any like other services you can wire up to do that for you. I think you can probably, because obviously you can get a webinar registration through Convertri, like we've got some API connections for that. If you also have a Zapier account, you could possibly also send a Zap to Calendly to book an appointment, and that can like automatically like create the appointment in the other person's calendar. So that could be a way of doing it in the interim. Diane's saying she's signed up for a charter license right at the start, and there are upgrades that cost money. How do I get my free upgrade? You get free upgrades every Tuesday. Like basically every Tuesday we update the app with with new features, with bug fixes, like with some of the stuff you've seen on this webinar. Plenty of that stuff goes into charter accounts as well as like the full feature pro ones. So if you were lucky enough to get in on those first 4 days, then yeah, that will just be automatic for you. You just automatically get that new stuff. Nick's saying tried to watch that the other day, but it stopped around 24 minutes and wouldn't start again. Are you talking about the Getting Started webinar, Nick, from the registration here? Okay, I will look into that. Maybe there is a corruption in the video. Thank you for letting me know. I'll just make a note of that so I don't forget it. Harry said a physical products webinar would be good. And Elizabeth saying would love a deep dive webinar on setting up a product website. So cool, there's another pair of good ideas. Okay, in that case, I think that's all the questions currently in the chat. If I've missed one, please do just ask it again. deep dive on setting up a service booking site. Yeah, that probably needs some kind of like Zap to Calendly or similar. But yeah, that could probably be done. We can try and work that out and do a webinar demonstrating that. Okay, so let's shift to the just to the general Q&A section. Is there anything anyone would like to know just on Convertery generally? And I'll have a swig of water while I wait for questions to come in. Okay, Cynthia's asking, how do I rotate images? At the moment, this is something you'd need to do in Photoshop for uploading to Convertery. We don't have like a rotation functionality in the app at the moment. It's something that I've been trying to get in there for some time at the moment. There is a ticket in the backlog again, where which will allow you to basically take any image and then go to the positioning panel and rotate it just the same way you can set width and height. So it is on the list. I don't know when it's going to make it into the app, unfortunately. Okay, does anyone have any other questions they would like to ask, or just something you want to see demonstrated? Okay, Diane's saying, I've got my pages and my site set up at mysite.com. How do I set up a domain for my Convertery pages, such as mysite.com/sales page? So am I right in thinking here you've got mysite.com set up somewhere else, like maybe you've got like a WordPress site or something on it, and you want your Convertery pages on a domain attached to that? Right, yes. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. And some of it will depend on basically how much you really want your pages on like mysite.com/something as opposed to like something.mysite.com, because there's two different ways of doing it. The way I recommend is using the CNAME system to set up something like sales.mysite.com. Set that up on Convertri. So you go to account and domains, and you would set up. So actually, as an example, I've got here, like I've got www.neilmerton.com, which is an ancient site. Back when I had back when I was a copywriting consultant. I don't even know if it's still there. Let's check that. Yeah, there we are. So this is my this is my WordPress site, which is something I've not had for I've not actually updated it for ages, but it's there, it exists. So that's what neilmerton.com is, and I've got offers.neilmerton.com set up on Convertri, so I can publish Convertri pages directly to that. They could go to offers.neilmerton.com/sales/7email/whatever, That is the way I would recommend doing it. So you have your Convertery pages on a subdomain, and for that you would use the CNAME tutorial and set it up that way. If you really want your Convertery pages on www.mysite.com/something, so it's like all still using that www. In that case, your best bet is probably to use the WordPress plugin, which you can get. So from account, WordPress plugin here, you can download this plugin. You can use that on your WordPress site, and then basically you can publish your Convertery pages on any domain using one of our like Convertery.com subdomains is probably easiest. Publish them there, and then you can use that connector plugin to put them on your WordPress site at a URL like that. I prefer the CNAME method with the subdomain because I don't think it really matters what's in the address bar, and the pages just work better that way. There's certain Convertery features which don't always work through the WordPress plugin, and it's a bit slower as well because you're loading WordPress before you load the Convertery page. But if you really want like the www as part of the address, then you can use the plugin to get your pages up there. Indra is asking, how do you set up a custom domain? So part of that, part of the answer is basically what we just went through with the CNAME, setting up subdomains. So if you've got like a site on www already, you can have a CNAME attached to that. If you want to set up a full custom domain on Convertery, so in my case, like it'd be like neilmerton.com or www.neilmerton.com, then the best way is to use our name servers. So for that, you want to go to add here, use Convertery with a new domain. Click add, type your domain in here, and this will give you a set of 4 name servers. And for that, you'll need to go to your hosting and enter these where it tells you to put them. We have a guide on how to do this. Just go to help.convertery.com. We'll go to domains and hosting. So best place to always go is like custom domains. Start here because this runs through the different options. And you can work out like which one of these is the best for your situation. In this case, like I'm pretty certain it's name servers, so you want to set up example.com and www.example.com on Convertery. So we've got a full walkthrough of how to do this. So there's a step-by-step PDF, and you can watch the video there too. And I will just copy this URL. I'll stick that in the chat. So that, I think, is the article you need. That should just walk you through the entire process on getting your domain set up. Cynthia is saying there's a current offer to upgrade to Pro. How on my account do I find out if I've already got it? Easiest way to do that, if you go to your account, you can log in any of these manager screens. In the bottom left corner, there is a little tag. Like on this one, it says agency because this is an agency account. If your one says Pro or agency, then you already have those features. If it doesn't, if it says, I think it says something like standard or charter or something like that, then there will be some stuff in there that you don't have. So you can decide whether or not like it's worth upgrading to the Pro version. Joseph's asking, can you set up an email address if I use Convertery name servers? Yes, you absolutely can. And there is a guide on how to do this. So how to set up email at your domain. Basically, you'll need to set up some MX records. So in Convertery, once you've got your once you've got your custom domain set up, so I've got one like already done here, cvtexample.com, like it's a custom domain set up on this account. If I go into the records section, then you can see there are records set up here. And what you'll need to do is create an MX record. So create record up here, type will be MX, and the specific name and value will be taken again from wherever you've got your mail servers. The one we recommend for this is Gmail, just because it's easiest. They've got all the information, just nice and easy to find in a help article, and it's what we use as well. Like we use Gmail for all our like business email stuff. Again, there is a full guide on how to do this in the knowledge base here. And again, I'll just take that URL and stick it in the chat box. So you will have to. There will be a bit of propagation time. Any time you change DNS like this, basically it takes the internet an hour or two to catch up. So it's worth shifting things over, like when you're not expecting to get like much traffic, much emails in, that kind of thing. But if you follow this guide or watch that video, that should walk you all the way through it. Dan saying, does Charter not have access to every feature? Not every feature, but most of them. There's a few bits which it doesn't. I think there's dynamic text and the video hosting are a couple that spring to mind. Generally things that cost us like ongoing money to run in most cases. But it does have access to like pretty much everything. Certainly, like all the stuff we've seen today, like I think all that's available to Charter accounts. Like all the stuff I've been talking about that's coming up with the form widget, the multi-publish, all that stuff. Like that, Charter accounts are getting all that too. So. You don't need to pay for Pro to use the video system, like the video players, all that kind of thing. They're all available on Charter as well. If you want to use Convertry's hosting, then you'll need to pay for Pro. But you could also use S3 if you want. We still use those for some videos, even though, like, obviously we've got access to our system. We're just not shifted everything over yet. There is actually a guide in here on setting up S3 for use, like with our video player. Let's see if I can find that. So video. Oh, there we are. So setting up S3 for use with Convertri. I'm not sure we've got a published list of the differences between Charter and Pro anywhere, because Charter was like it was only sold for those 4 days right at the beginning, like as that very special deal. But if you send an email into support, they'll be able to like list out all the differences. And yeah, you can use any of your own self-hosting for the video player if you want. We suggest S3 because we just think they're the best one. They, like, as far as I'm concerned, they're the cheapest and most convenient. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, I think that looks like it. I'll hang around for another couple of minutes. So if you've got anything last minute you think of, please do feel free to stick it in the chat. Otherwise, thank you very much for coming. I hope what you've seen was useful. I hope you got some idea of where we're going, and I hope you're excited for the stuff that's coming out in September, because I certainly am. And as I know, there's plenty of all those links for the support articles that I was just talking about. They are sat in that chat box, along with the Convertri.com support address itself. If you need any more. And yeah, that looks like it. If you are keen for more Convertery content, I very much encourage you to go and watch the first Funnel Masters podcast. It is very, very interesting stuff. I've known Andy for 20 years, and I've known Joey for must be going on 10 now. But even knowing these guys for that long, I got an awful lot out of listening to the conversation. It's very, very interesting. You'll be surprised how much can get packed into half an hour. So cool. Thank you very much for coming, everyone, and I will hopefully see you in September.